Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. In this session, I'll be looking once again at a general reading for everybody's birthday month, and this time it will be looking at what will happen to you in April. I hope you've been enjoying this particular series. I know not many people have been following it, but they are rather fun to do, and if you do find some value out of them, please feel free to leave a comment. And if you don't find any value in them, comments also would be highly accepted. Thank you. So let's now examine what is your April going to be like. I pre-shuffled the cards as usual, but I am gradually learning to shuffle. And this is a reading for people born in September to see them through the month of April 2025. The energy that you bring into April is black on brown. The energy that encompasses most of April is orange on orange, and the energy towards the end of April is green on orange, and your underlying energy is white on blue. Let's examine these in more detail. Black on brown is a reduction in your ability to get your dreams accomplished. And this is the energy that you are bringing into April. You have lots of schemes and dreams and plans and abilities to do things, practical skills, wishes, hopes, prayers even. All of those are inside yourself. In the real world, they've all been shut down. It doesn't matter what it is that you hope to accomplish in March. Instead, what has happened as a result is you are no longer your own writer of your own life's book. Instead, what has happened is that your ability to even plan things, your ability to choose what sorts of goals you want, have also been shut down. You've had to take time out to reconsider all of these ideas that you've had in the past, because nothing that you have done has to try and put them into the real world has actually come to fruition. Now, this has led you to a situation in which orange on orange means crisis. It is unusual to have the same colours top and bottom, because there are only 12 cards that have the same colour top and bottom in the real world and the internal world in the pack, and there are well over 80 cards in the pack. So this is an unusual thing, but it also is one that denotes a great deal of crisis and drama and uncertainty and the need for confidence and courage in the face of all sorts of upheaval. Internally, the orange says, I'm lacking in the wherewithal to be able to accomplish what is upsetting me. I want to overcome that drama. I want to get out of that crisis state, but I don't feel as though I can. In the real world, however, you find yourself actually being engaged in a whole range of exactly those sorts of dramas. The orange in the real world is also a colour that is associated with sociability, with social skills. So you're in the process of trying to find like-minded people, or you certainly will be in April, finding people who have similar sorts of ideas, similar problems to you, similar choices that they've had to make, similar ways in which they've had to try and survive, because ultimately orange is colour of survival. Will you survive? Won't you survive? It all depends on how well you can negotiate these needs for survival and courage and confidence and the ability to put those into practice. Orange on orange is never a comfortable way of dealing with any time in your life. But this April, it's going to be particularly difficult for you, because as it continues through, as you continue on your way through April, you'll find that that whole frustration, that inability to find the confidence, the wherewithal, the courage, the survivability skills will actually open up for you a whole range of alternative ways of doing things, but they require you to change your values. They require you to determine, this is not right for me anymore. They require you to take advantage of the offerings that are there, even if they go against what you used to do in the past. Orange and brown have similarities as well, in that there is a theory that brown as a color does not exist, that it's merely a darkened form of orange, and there is a lot to recommend that particular idea. So we have here a deepened or darkened drama, followed by lots of outrage and obvious drama, followed by even more drama, but this time there is some sort of hope, perhaps, because green encompasses yellow. Yellow is always associated with hope and happiness and things brightening up for you. But it also contains blue, and blue is all about the status quo, things remaining the same. So while opportunities are inherent within that green, those opportunities require you to have a change of heart. Underlying all of this is white on blue. This is an interesting color combination. In the tarot, this particular combination is represented by the card known as the Hanged Man. That is the voluntary sacrifice. You're doing what you do here in obtaining your goals and waiting out the right time for them to be put into fruition as a way of looking after the greater good, not just your own good. Here, orange and blue are opposites. So whereas this is major drama, the underlying energy of the voluntary sacrifice is, okay, it's my drama. I'm the one that has fallen into this particular pit, if you like, and I'm the one that's going to have to get myself out of it. And similarly, that voluntary sacrifice energy, the white on blue, affects this future as a way of the blue and orange are opposite, so you're swinging from drama to ability to be calm and to do the organization and the activating those skills that are associated with work and order and conformity. And in the real world, the green opportunities become white, and white is opportunities in all directions. It is the unknown, but it's also the everything. So these green opportunities are impinged upon by this white that you've got here in the underlying energy that enables you to look at a whole range, a huge variety of different ways of doing things. But the voluntary sacrifice energy that impinges all of this is that whatever you choose to do, it's all about doing it for the greater good, not just for your own benefit. Blue internally specifically has to do with maintaining the status quo. White externally has to do specifically with opening up to all eventualities as a result of maintaining that peace and quiet that is inside yourself. So how do we make the changes that enable you to take advantage of these opportunities without necessarily having to continue creating the crisis that has been impinging upon all of your month? Well, for that we need to look at the colours that are missing. You have black, you have white. There is no red, there is no yellow, but you do have green. You have blue, you have brown, you have a surfeit of orange. There is no grey as such, although it is hidden within these colours, within the black and white. There is no purple. There is no pink. And even though the blue and white together make a form of cyan, cyan itself does not exist. So these colours here represent the skills and attributes that you are currently using and that you will be using throughout April. These are the things that you are able to do and do easily because you know how to do them and you have done them many times before, so therefore you are able to continue using them. The problem with this is that it is a cyclical issue. What you come into the month with is not far removed from what you end the month in. The difference is this use of the underlying energy, but that underlying energy leads you back around and around and around. The idea is that we now look at those colours that are missing: red, purple, yellow, pink, grey and cyan, and choose from amongst those the one colour that appeals the most and then the one colour that appeals the least, and put those into your life in some form. It's a good idea to get a visual shot of those colours every day throughout April, because what happens is that the two colours that you're choosing, the best and the worst of them, so to speak, actually encompass all the others, so that you are taking on new ways of doing things, new skills, new attributes to add to the repertoire you already have here and enable you to make the most of this voluntary sacrifice energy to get yourself into a place that is in a different pathway to that cyclic one that you are currently on. Are you up for the challenge? Okay. This is a colour reading for those born in October for the month of April 2025. The energy that you bring into the month is cyan on pink. The energy throughout the month is cyan on red. The energy at the end of the month is red on purple. And the underlying energy is orange on orange. Let's examine these. Cyan and pink are the two colours, when put together, that give you bliss and contentment. Pink is the colour of the baby. Everything that is newly born is treated with a certain degree of admiration, respect, certainly a lot of nurture and love, and hence pink is often associated with love. Cyan is the colour of bliss, comfort, all those things associated with being well-fed, well-looked after, and in a state of extremely contented babyhood. So this combination you could classify as the contented baby. And that's what you're bringing into the month of April with you. You're happy, extremely happy. Happy that everything that you desire, everything that you need for yourself is being supplied. You are well nurtured, whether you are the one doing the nurturing or whether it is someone else. That's irrelevant. What does matter here is that you couldn't be happier with yourself if you tried. But as we move into April, that energy of babyhood darkens and we end up with cyan on red. Now, this is a different kettle of fish altogether. The red internally is all about frustration, about an overabundance of energy jumping out of your skin. You want to accomplish something. You're past the stage of just simply allowing for other people to look after you. Now you want things that are different to what is being offered back here in the nurturing phase. So here we're still happy with what's going on in the real world. We're still quite capable of accepting assistance and nurture and love and care from others. But because of this enormous amount of energy we have internally, that energy is now causing you to become the nurturer. So if this was you accepting the nurturing, this now becomes you as the nurturer, as the person who is going out and doing the caring for others. You're angry about something. You're frustrated with something. You want something to change. There is something inside yourself that is creating massive discontent. And in the real world, however, you are the one that has to go out and make it right. Eventually, though, that red inverts into the real world from the internal world and becomes an action-oriented situation. You're going to find yourself out there taking major risks, doing all sorts of things that you would normally probably not do. Certainly you wouldn't do them with this sort of energy. But now you're out there asserting yourself, making sure that people take notice that you are in charge of what? Well, the purple internally has to do with resources. It has to do with the things that you are able to use to create change. Purple is a driver towards dramatic endings and new beginnings. In many ways, it has to do with destruction of the old to make way for the new. And that urge internally to get rid of what is in order to create something new has you all fired up. In the tarot, this red on purple energy is associated with the card known as the sun. Everything that the sun touches will either be burnt to a frazzle, which is what the purple interior is all about, or it will grow into something strong and resilient and long-lasting, which is also what the purple is about. So the red on purple together form a way of you not only putting light on the subject, but also doing things in broad daylight, making sure that you are seen to be doing things. And what are you doing? You are making changes, lots and lots and lots of changes. Underlying all of this is a need for confidence, for courage, for the ability to survive a crisis. Orange on orange is one of the cards that has to do with drama and also with social skills. It's unusual to have a card that has both colours top and bottom, because there are only 12 of those in a pack of over 80 cards. So to receive one means that there is an enormous focus on what that colour represents. And in this situation, the orange internally is an upwelling of a desire to survive and to do so by thinking about what you're doing before you do it. The orange in the real world, in the external world, is all about doing before you think. So between the two of those, you find yourself with an overwhelming need to deal with dramas as they arise. And you have the confidence and the courage and the survivability skills that are necessary to get you through. Back here, when you are being nurtured like you were a neonate, there isn't really much you can do with this energy. It's certainly there, and it does impinge upon it. Every time you feel unhappy or dissatisfied with something, it enables you to cry, to tell somebody else, to complain, whatever. And in the real world, because orange and blues are opposites, it causes some form of adjustment that has to be made. When it's attached here to the cyan and red, the courage, the confidence to survive helps you to overcome the huge amount of frustration that occurs as a result of that red internally. And once again, it causes that blue stability to switch over to doing something positive. Over here with the sun card, the red and purple, when impinged upon by the orange, creates a situation where not only do things grow and flourish in the world, but they do so as a result of you being able to stand up and be counted, and not only to demand what you want, but to do so in an assertive manner that gets you what you want, but doesn't demean others getting what they need as well. So how do we encourage this to happen in a positive way? Let's look at the colors that are missing. There is no black and there is no white. You do have red, but there's no yellow or green or blue. There's no brown. You do have orange. There is no grey. You have purple. You have pink. And you have cyan. So, looking at these colours here, these are the skills and attributes that you will be using throughout the month of April. Red, orange, purple, pink, and cyan. They're all very warm. Even the cyan is a little bit warm. They're all very warm colours, very hot colours. So this means that there's a lot of emotionality involved in this travel through the month of April. What is missing, however, are the cooler areas, the black, the green, the grey, the white, the blue, the yellow, and the brown. And those colours represent skills and attributes that you're currently not using. So the idea is that you choose from amongst these the one colour that is missing, that is most appealing, and the one colour that is missing that is least appealing. And when you place those two colours, the most and the least appealing, into your life as a visual prompt every single day, you are telling your unconscious mind not only to add all of these skills to your repertoire, but to add them in such a way that all of these overly warm colours, all of these hot energies, are somewhat cooled down a little bit so that you can get your way through April without coming to the situation where you are so caught up in the dramas and the crisis of everything that you can't think before you act. Are you up for the challenge? This is a colour reading for those people born in the month of November to test out the energies of April 2025. The energies that you'll be bringing with you from March into April is red on white. At the height of April, we're looking at white on pink. And the energy that you leave April is purple on purple. And the underlying energy is red on red. Now, this is highly unusual. To have the same colour top and bottom in any of these combinations is a rather limited thing. There are only 12 of those cards in a pack of over 80 cards. 84 cards, really. So to get 2 of them suggests that there's something very serious going on here. It also suggests that there is a limit to the sorts of things that you will be able to manage during the month of April. What you are bringing into April with you is an enlightenment. You've suddenly come to realization that what you knew before has been completely overthrown, and now you're in a situation, under circumstances, where you have been enlightened. And what has that done for you? It has created a great deal of energy, whether that be anger or whether that be get out and do something. But certainly the energy that comes out of this particular enlightenment that has occurred internally is one of potential danger. You have put yourself into a situation, into a position where you are doing things that could be quite damaging to you. They could also be extremely helpful to you as well, because they enable you to act on anything that is viewed by you internally as a threat. But more often than not, red over white is a signal that you need to be careful about how you proceed. Red in the real world can be damaging. As the month proceeds, however, that red becomes diluted, very much paled down to pink, and is inverted into the internal world. So whereas before, as you enter into the month of April, you are full of energy and activity and doing things in all directions, you find yourself in a situation of vulnerability. Now, is it because you've done something that has put you in danger and now you need to retreat from that danger? Or is it that you have run out of energy? Both of those apply. The white in the internal world, or that enlightenment, now has also inverted and come into the real world, into your conscious world. And here, the pink in the internal world and the consciousness of whiteness in the real world means that you've come face to face with a form of justice. And in fact, that's exactly what the white and pink refer to in the tarot cards. It represents the card of justice. So there's every danger that the problems that you were dealing with back here, that this sudden realization that things aren't what they seemed to be before and you're acting out on it, has now put you face to face with a circumstance where whatever it is you did, you're now reaping the results of that. Be they good or bad, doesn't make any difference. But the results are ones that are likely to cut you up very, very quickly, make you pull up short. Because what happens after that, and this is where the problem comes in, is that the purple on purple in the tarot reads for the Tower. Everything that you had been building up here, that you'd been facing there, comes crashing down. And that includes your health. Purple is a color associated with child energy, but it's also associated with healing energy. So apart from being so energetic that you're doing something that you probably will regret as a result of having to face up to the consequences, now all of that has fallen apart and you have to now rebuild that. This is a sudden destruction. So what you had hoped for in the past, perhaps in March, coming into April, is not coming to fruition. The purple internally is a need for things to get better. I want to change things quite dramatically if necessary, but I need to change things so that I can feel better. But in the real world, everything that is tried is unable to fulfill that need for healing, and so the cycle continues round and round. You do something to try and make yourself feel better, that in turn makes you feel worse in the real world because whatever it is that you tried to do doesn't work or falls apart, and round the circle we go again, and round and round and round. And the problem that is causing this is the underlying energy here. Red on red is the choices that you make. It's interesting that here we have three major arcana tarot cards: Justice, the Tower, and the Lovers. And in each situation here, you have an all or nothing response. White will actually cover for whatever color is underneath or associated with it. So in one way of reading this is to say pink on pink. It's pretty much the same thing, except that the pink becomes more diluted and is more pale. Here, red on red is choices made on the spur of the moment. I desire this, that's what I want, that's what I'm going to get. And moving through that causes you to create the sorts of dramas that you end up with at the end of the month. Red on red, when mixed with this red and white energy that you're coming into the month, will actually cause this need for doing something after you have discovered something new, got new information, new facts, and so forth. The red on red causes you to into a situation almost overkill. You're doing too much. You are risking life and limb in order to rectify whatever it is that's been set off by this new knowledge. Here, the red, the choices made affect the justice that is being meted out to you. If these choices are made on the basis of something that is beneficial to you, then the justice meted out will be one of things becoming quite good for you. On the other hand, if these are self-destructive energies, then the justice that you receive here, the pink and white, will be something that really pulls you back down and into line again, whether you like it or not. And finally, the amount of energy here in this red desires activated and acted upon causes whatever it is that's falling apart from your past to not only crumble but be destroyed absolutely. So you had a warning in March that there was a potential for health to be damaged. And I'm afraid that this April is not going to be very much better for you. What can you do to try and circumvent the worst of it? Let's have a look at the colours that are missing. There is no black, but you do have white. There is red. In fact, red is your dominant colour. There is no yellow or green or blue or brown or orange or grey, but you do have purple and you do have pink. There's also no cyan. Have a look at this. These are the colours that are active in your reading for April. These are the skills that you are using. They're very hot skills. Even white can be classified as a warm or hot colour. All of them are associated with high emotional states. And as a result of those high emotional states, there is a warning here, particularly with this card, a warning to think carefully about what you are doing. Don't just jump at the first thing that you come across and think that that's a good choice. It may not be. What we need to look at here is the colours that are missing. Grey, black, yellow, green, orange, brown, blue, cyan. These are the skills that you're not using. You're not using time out, dealing with uncertainty and confusion to try and clarify things, obtaining new information, looking for opportunities, delving into the ability to be courageous, having a plan, working on that plan, creating some sort of peace and quiet in your life. These are the skills that you need to add somehow into here. And the way that you do this is by choosing the one colour that is most appealing and then the one colour that is least appealing and incorporating those into your life on a daily basis. Give yourself a visual shot of those two colours every day throughout April, and you'll find that because they are the extremes of what is not currently being used, they will always incorporate parts of the other colours that are not in that repertoire. And they, in turn, will help to bring down some of the heat in this energy here, so that when you are faced with having to make choices, the choices that you make are better ones that don't end up with you having to face justice and catastrophe. Because if you don't, those could be the outcomes for you. Are you prepared to take on that challenge? This is a color reading for those people born in December for how they will travel through the month of April 2025. The energies that you bring with you from March into April is green on green. The energy throughout April is cyan on white, and at the end of April, it's cyan on yellow, and the underlying energy is pink on red. So what do we have here? Green on green is all about the ability to take advantage of opportunities. It's got to do with gambling. It's got to do with luck. And in many ways, it has to do with the things that you value most. So is your heart in the right place? In terms of the tarot, green on green is the Wheel of Fortune. So it has a lot to do with how you approach life and whether or not you see what happens to you as being something in a positive light or whether you see things in a negative light. Are you jealous of other people's successes, or are you pleased for them and so therefore expect them also to be pleased with your successes? It's unusual to find in a color reading the same color top and bottom because there are only 12 of those cards in a pack of 84. So when we find one, it always has a special significance. And as the color combination that you bring into April from March, it has the significance of having you taken off into a new direction. Green in the internal world is about making choices based on your values. I want a change. I want something new. I'm looking for something that will make me feel as though I have progressed. I want progress. In the real world, the green gives you those opportunities. There they are. Lots and lots of different ways of obtaining that progress, of obtaining the things that you desire. Are you actually choosing things that will get you where you want to go? Or are you simply gambling with life and in that respect not gaining anything majorly positive as a result of those gambles? As we move further into April, that green disappears and in its place we have cyan on white. White in the internal world is all about enlightenment. Suddenly, your world is full of new facts and ideas and images of things that you were unaware of before. Now, that can be quite a frightening experience because we don't expect to have all of our strongly held beliefs and values that we had back here challenged quite so dramatically. But those items of new information are also creating for you in the real world the opportunities to calm down the fears that are associated with potentially making the wrong choice back here. So the white enlightenment feeds into an activity of peace and calm and bliss. This is in fact a very, very comfortable setting. So maybe the luck that you've got inherent here has moved into April. Maybe you did win the lottery, or maybe you did actually get the thing that you were after. And now you have to learn some new skills, open yourself up to a new reality, and in the real world, it's like you are very, very comfortable in the existence that you have as a result of this new enlightenment. After a while, though, you start to get wise. By the end of April, all of this enlightenment has been turned into learning. Yes, if you have won the lottery or had whatever good luck is signified by this card, by this combination, and you felt really blissfully happy as a result of it, because all of your dreams have suddenly come true. Now you wake up to the fact that other people want a piece of it. And so now internally you have to start to become a bit discriminating. You have to learn, what are you going to do with all of this bliss and happiness that you've got back here? Because even though it still exists in the real world, it's also affected by the fact that some things have changed, and they've changed forever. So now you have to learn to negotiate those issues. When we blend cyan and yellow together, we actually get green again. So there are opportunities within this combination for you to be able to head off in another direction, to take advantage of more good luck. But it all depends on how carefully you consider what you have received back here and do with it something that will enable you to maintain that calm, collected, I am very happy with my life feeling that has occurred here immediately after this change in direction. Underlying all of this is pink on red. Red is impulsivity. And internally, being impulsive means that you've got lots of energy, you've got lots of enthusiasm, you want to jump at every opportunity that comes. And because it's the opposite to green, it means that you are in a position where an opportunity presents itself and you then evaluate that through your emotional life and decide yes or no and instantly jump to it. Pink in the real world is a watered down version of red and still in some ways opposite to the green here. So while you might jump at an opportunity, in the real world, it has to be something else that determines what the outcomes of that opportunity are going to be. Because pink is vulnerability. You don't get a say in what the outcome is of the choices that you've made on the basis of the opportunities that present themselves. The pink on red also impinges upon the major part of the month, in that the cyan and pink together is ultimate bliss. And when that occurs in the real world, it means that you are incredibly happy with what the outcome is of whatever happened back here. But the red and white is a sign of caution. Red and white together in the internal world create pink. So you have to be a little bit careful, because having created all of this intense happiness for yourself, you also have created a situation where other people are striving to take advantage of your good fortune. So you need to be careful to guard against that. If you don't, you may just find out. This is the find out phase. You may just find out that, hey, you can lose the lot very, very quickly. Red and yellow together will create a situation that creates the color orange. And orange is about crisis. It's about drama. It's about needing confidence and courage and needing to survive. Again, we have the cyan and the pink together, which are all about being extremely happy with your lot in life. But when drama and the need to survive rear their ugly head, means that perhaps things aren't quite as wonderful as they appeared back here, and you have to tread carefully in order to negotiate that bliss and not fall prey to the negative aspects of the green on green wheel of fortune, because fortune comes and fortune goes. So what do we do to enhance the month? Well, let's look at the colours that are missing. There's no black, but you do have white. You've got red, you've got yellow, you've got green. There's no blue or brown or orange or grey or purple, but you do have both pink and cyan. So these colors here represent the skills and attributes that will flow through you in the month of April. A rather nice combination. Things should go fairly well for you, I should imagine, because all of them have to do with choices that are made on the basis of opportunities, chances, love, wisdom, and also being able to maintain bliss in your life, calm, contentment. Over here, however, are the colours that are missing: black, brown, blue, grey, orange, and purple. Now, these colours, while not quite as vibrant as these ones over here, are nevertheless important because they represent the skills that you're not using. You're not using careful contemplation. You're not using planning. You're not using getting yourself organised or dealing with crisis and drama or having to manage a catastrophe or manage confusion. Yet those things will all impinge upon what is happening here because you're not using them. So your challenge for this month is to choose the one colour that is least appealing out of these and the colour that is most appealing, and put those into your life somehow as a visual prompt to your unconscious on a daily basis that will enable you then to incorporate all of those skills into this repertoire here to make you a little less naive, a little less susceptible to other people's challenges, and enable you to make the most of the luck that is coming your way. Good luck. Are you up for the challenge of the darker colours? And there we have a colour analysis for all of the birthday months for the month of April 2025. I know not many of you have actually been listening to these, but they are interesting to me because I think of the people that I know when I'm doing each colour combination, when I do each month's reading, and when I speak to them afterwards. A lot of this is very, very spot on. So maybe it will be for you too. Certainly, I'd love to hear from you. Comment in the little areas below. If you like the format, please give it a like. Maybe even consider subscribing if you're new here. Otherwise, I'll leave you with it. And may the colours of your life flow into all sorts of areas of abundance, joy, and happiness. Bye.